Hello everyone. Sorry, just a bit of adjustment. There you go, that's better. So, um, I've just had a shower, so hair's a bit weird. Um, okay, so I'm doing this video in the middle of doing another one at the moment while I'm editing another one. Just that these are really easy for me to just get out there, so all I've got to do is put my logo at the start and the end of the video and I'm golden. So where we left off in this story is I finished telling you all the stuff about my uncle, but I'm going to go back a little bit further in time now, just because that wasn't where all of my anxiety come from. There's a bit there that I need to do a few episodes on, just to explain it well. Okay, so primary school, let's see, that would have been when I was about 9-10 years old, I guess. I had a girlfriend who, if she watches this video, I'm going to protect everyone's name on this. I don't want to be bitchy to anyone or get anyone in trouble or do any like confidentiality stuff on here, so I'm going to call her Charlene. She was my first, what I would consider my girlfriend. Later came out that she didn't feel the same way, but she was my first love, I guess. At that age, you can argue that, yeah, you don't really know what love is and whatever, but in my mind, she was it. Love my life, the first girl I ever felt that way for, etc. This was, if I'm going to speak to the Americans here, this would be whatever comes before high school. So, I never really spoke to her or anything outside of school, and there was a bit of awkwardness when I went to a museum once. We call it the Black Country Museum. It isn't as racist as it sounds. It's literally just called the Black Country because that's an area of where I live. It's just called that. Yeah, so I think her dad was chaperoning something, might be the reason why, but I said, hello, hello Charlene, and she kind of just shrugged it off, and I don't know what happened after that, but as far as I remember, all the times I saw her in the playground, it was all good. Only issue is, when I was at school, I was a bit of a loner. Not necessarily because I was bad at making friends, but because, and whether this is fair or unfair to say or not, I don't know whether racism did play into it. If it didn't, and you're one of the people who went to school with me, please tell me, because I'd love to know. But I never really had any true, proper friends when I was at school. There's one or two who were just happened to be white and I could hang around with, and they moved out the area and I saw them from time to time. Who they were great at the time. It really made me feel that I had another family, considering what happened later on as in my last videos. I didn't really connect to many people, especially when I hit secondary school. I had kids around and I played with them and stuff outside of school sometimes, but I didn't really feel like part of a group. I was one of the very few white kids at school. There was mostly Pakistani, Indian, a few black people, Thought I was one of the very few whites, and I've got a feeling for that reason I was bullied quite a bit. Not just that, because my name as well, Nigel, my last name Mayo, hence the name of the channel, by the way. Used to call me, there was these horrible kids on my road. Whenever I went past their house, I had to go past them to get to the bus. Used to shout out Nigel Mansell, Nigel Mansell, Nigel Mansell all the time, to the point that I felt unsafe going past them, and I actually had to tell my family that this was happening, and it started a whole row once. Then they said they wouldn't do it again, but they did. Anyway, because of all this, I was very timid when I was alone. I wasn't so much when I had my friends who were white with me. They were really cool. They were the cool kids. They just happened to take me under their wing and be friends with me, and they were, at the time, get into that later, at the time they were great. Once they left, I was alone again. There were kids that I kind of got on with, but as I said, no one where there was no one I could call my best friend, no one who was like a brother to me. I was an only child. I was a kid where, apart from the odd occasion where my cousin came over, I was the only kid in the family where everyone else was the generation above me. So in the household, I felt like everyone was my mum and dad. No, sorry about the camera work there. Just sorry, it needs to get hold. There you go. I felt like I was the kid in the fact that everyone was just telling me what to do all the time, having to go at me when they thought, not all the time that I actually was, when they thought I was doing wrong, and they just basically took everything out on me in the end. But I covered that in my other videos. Please watch from the start, from part 1, if you want to get into that, because I'm not going to go through that again. Anyway, I may do, because there are points in the future where I might need to come back to that, but I'm digressing right now. Charlene, because of my standing, and that I was very aware of being attacked, of being mugged, of being ridiculed. I saw one of the kids that ridiculed me at school walking down the road, because once I left that part of school, primary school we call it, we'd arranged to meet at her house, because I wanted to take the relationship further, meet up and actually hang out outside school and be boyfriend, girlfriend. At that point, I could see myself with her the rest of my life, type of thing. I was young, naive and all the rest of it, but that's how I thought. Because you do at that age. You want to be an astronaut or fireman or musician, which that came later. Or whatever, but at the time everything was very simplistic. So anyway, I saw that person, and I turned the other way, and I didn't see Charlene that day. I thought maybe I'd wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, then it was 2 hours, then it was the next day, then it was the next week, then the next month, and before I knew it, I went through the whole of secondary school, which was years 7 to 11. So I was 16 when I left secondary school, where I actually saw her again. And that was all because I felt that I was going to be bullied. You see, one of the points I really want to make, and I think it does, and I'm hoping that anyone who suffers with anxiety later in their life um, has had it all their life at some point to some degree, and a lot of stuff that you go through when you're young, when you're really young, like with the whole watches situation, it sticks with you and it really does affect later in life. So when you get into a certain kind of mindset, unless you go through some kind of other life-changing experience, it's always going to be the way you're going to think. It's always going to foreshadow the way your life is going to be. And the experience of my uncle didn't help things. Anyway, so I went through living with my uncle, and sorry, my rabbit's right next to me. And at the time, I was going to karate lessons, and the guy that I knew at the time there, that was a whole other situation. Oh, by the way, there was a family that I knew. One of them was a black belt, one of them was a brown, and all the rest of it. And there was two girls. That was the reason why I left, just in case any of them are watching, because it was the case where they was nice to me, then they was like taking the piss out of me. Not taking the piss out of one of the boys and stuff. It was just like, I'd say, oh, so he said that, and so we were gonna go out that time, and then he says, no, don't, I don't remember that, and just turning stuff around on you, and it got to the point where I didn't really know how to take them half the time. But anyway, at the point that I decided I want to get back with Charlene again, I asked my friend, can you come with me? I need to see this girl. It's been long enough. I just happened to see her when I was passing on a bus. She had like blue highlights in her hair, and I thought, wow, she's just as beautiful as when I left school. Last time I saw her. And anyway, I wrote this letter, left it at her house. I think this was before she would have finished school, because she was a year younger than I was. I just finished school, and yeah, she was a year younger, so she hadn't finished school yet. So I posted this before her mum went to meet her, and so that she'd get it when she gets home, and then she'd meet me. Yeah. So we did. And when she saw me, my back was turned to her because my eyes are shut, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I can't move. It was actually a great time. It really was. So I turned round, and there she was with her sister. I was there with my mate, and I was like, oh my god, I'm just back where I was when I was at school again. I was so happy to see her. We caught up, got into the stuff, spoke about the stuff that we was into. My mate left, and I went back to her house. We talked all evening, got really late, and then we kissed at the door. First time I did that with her ever. And I went home. It was like the perfect night. The perfect night. And I remember going back home. I think it was still at the point where my house has still been renovated, and I was still at my uncle's. I think. I remember stuff that happened, but the timeline is a bit shaky back then. But yeah, I went back home, So happy and content. It was unreal. It really did feel unreal. I literally had to keep pinching myself. Um, Went to bed happy. Had a picture of her from when she was at school, and she had changed in looks because you get older. Um, what I didn't know was how she would change after that first night. It's as if she went home, took off her mask, and then she was a completely and utterly different person. See you in the next video. Sorry if you didn't hear that. See you in the next video.